Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Winter Cup 2023 Semifinals cast. I am Hornet. We have Wrestler hosting today, and joining me today on the commentary is Slappy Davis.
Hello, hello. Super excited for these matches. And I recognize the players and I know that they're going to be really interesting games. And I'm very particularly excited for how I'm glad that these are the way that they're paired up. I think that if it had paired up the other way, I would be significantly less excited. So I'm going to flow into it. It's great.
Completely agree, and two exciting matches we have. Today, the first one kicking things off will be DavidW versus Koopa. So, DavidW had a somewhat quiet start in the group stages, but has absolutely caught fire in the bracket stage, and I think has gotten a lot of people's attention. So I think people know David W for his plays on the spy side, but one thing that has really stood out this tournament is his absolutely lights out play on the sniper side. And speaking of catching fire, Koopa has been on an absolute rampage this tournament, winning each of his matches with relative ease. So I've known Koopa to be a very strong player, but I think he's really made a statement in this particular tournament, showing that he is at that elite level when he's in his top form. So let's go ahead and look at the draft for this matchup. So David W picked upscaling, Koopa went with Book It. Koopa banned Balcony, David W banned Redwoods. So yeah, as far as the picks and bans, nothing too surprising. As fun as Balcony and Redwoods are, I think they do stand out a little bit in these venue sets. With the remaining ones being pretty well standard, well balanced, commonly played venues that I would expect both players to be well prepared for. The doubles, on the other hand, are quite interesting. So Koopa doubled Aquarium, and let's see, David W doubled Terrace. So Terrace, never really struck me as a venue where one player would have a big strategic advantage. But after watching a pretty long set between David W and Grash, I've changed my opinion on that. There's a ton of interesting strategies that can be applied there. And Koopa, we know he loves his aquarium, probably very well prepared for it. And as we've seen through this tournament, David W is quite the pathing sniper, and Aquarium is quite good for pathing snipers. So that'll be a fun battle to see play out.
Yeah, and I'm particularly interested where I think that David W's sniper style can wring out a little bit of an edge on Terrace that can kind of feel coin flippy sometimes, and then it's like on the ones that feel directly coin flippy. Sometimes it's hard to actually get an edge out of it. So I'm curious about his spy play on that one. I feel like I can understand where snipers may be going, and then also I think just for these couple of players, I want to say, and I don't want I'm hoping I'm not forgetting any particular tournaments for them. I want to say for these two players, getting into the finals of a Winter Cup is probably the biggest result that either one has ever had, even though they've been at the top of the scene for like a long time. Like both of these players have been around for years. Both of them have been solid threats in a bunch of tournaments, but I don't think that any of them have gotten to the to the finals of a major tournament. I know that David has won a couple of the venue cups, like the parts of the venue tournament. I can't say I don't know if Koopa's ever gotten there before, but it just like I'm just excited for these two players because even though one of them is going to be dropping out and maybe a little bit disappointed, one of them is going to be stepping up to maybe the biggest game that they've had yet. So that's going to be really fantastic to see.
Yeah, absolutely. Certainly a lot on the line here for two very high skilled players who both deserve to show what they're made of. And yeah, with that, let's get into it. So on the first, let's see here. First, we are on Aquarium with Koopa spying as Red Dress. All right, so let me know when you're ready, Slappy.
I am ready.
All right, so let's kick this off in three, two, one, playing it.
And obviously, this will tell us so much. It's such an interesting venue to start on, Aquarium, because it's going to tell you so much about what the spy is going to actively want to do. It's kind of a weird one to start on the spy, just because you have to take so much agency for what you do as spy in it. Sometimes it might be better to like warm up on like library, where it's kind of like, all right, well, I'm just going to set up in this particular way and then try something. Where this one you have to be kind of moving kind of actively. And so far we actually not really seeing that. Koopa just kind of seeing what the condition is, shaking their camera a little bit, getting a pretty mediocre flirt, noting who's been to bar, but right now not getting much out of it.
Yeah, quite a lot of statue visitors early on, and I noticed quite a lot of bar visitors, but if I'm not mistaken, I don't think well, actually, no, okay, so I think everyone who has been to bar has been highlit, and, Seek also picked up a highlight before he went to bar. I don't know if that was for proximity to the ambassador, perhaps?
All right, we pick up a white, which just puts us into. We're gonna have to be bumping out of here, so I don't think we should actually be killing too much time here. General does leave, so we might be able to pick that up later. But one of the things that is beneficial on this is we could have gone for reverse bug, but wisely choose not to do it. Is that David W is known for flirt pairing, and I don't think we're going to get paired with General here. I do think that we're going to be a little bit dependent on that green when we go up later, but we have a very slow start, so I don't think David's going to much hook into us yet. But I don't think we're going to be doing any purloin action off of this either. So I think that David's going to be relatively comfortable in a moment, do a little bit of bounce, and end up at bar.
Yeah, innocent briefcase return here. No fingerprint on that briefcase, but we should be able to get a difficult print at least off of the bar. Um, One thing I noticed that was quite interesting. Conversations were quite full earlier, but we did not opt for the contact. I think maybe one or two were out. Um, so we do take up. Let's see here. Oh, I believe we did not take a delegate there. We just go back to an innocent conversation.
And not only did we not take that delegate, we actually went next to a person we were standing next to in that first conversation circle. I really hope we don't talk in this conversation. I'm worried that we're going to get paired with Seek, who we might just notice because Seek is a highlight currently. Unfortunately, we might just get the credit later. Anyways, I mean, right now, I don't think we're being watched very much at all, but maybe latently later, if we end up trying to take a strike at something, we might get a little bit of credit here. Are we going to bounce? Okay,
Banana
we're
bread.
just going to take a wide contact. There's only going to be one conversation that has a DA in it. So right now there's four with real, and there's a lot of movement after this. I'm really curious if we shoot off another banana bread later after there's all of this movement on there. But we've just been really slow other than that.
Yeah, with only a minute left and 50% flirt, I do think Koopa has switched to a frame type of a plan, and we are taking the delegate, so this will probably tie in with that frame. Um, so I guess just the question is who has been very active? I know there's been a lot of statue visitors, there's been a lot of book visitors. Not too many people got contact credits, so well, yeah, we'll have to see how effective this is.
Yeah, because I think that right now where we're situated now, I don't think there's that much threat on either one of these. So Duke is gonna be the send, but the problem is like if it's not Duke getting shot, this game is done. Out of nowhere, a shot on Teal. What happened? Okay, all right. Let's zoom back a little bit because I have no idea because it's not a highlight at all, and the Purloin hadn't even gone off yet.
Yeah, not too sure what Teal had done, but knowing Rav, Teal must have had accumulated a lot of missions in that time.
Yeah, let's see. So Teal was at the bar at the very beginning. Teal did have real. Oh, Teal might have chased. So did it? Teal was next to Jackson, and might have chased Jackson right after Jackson left. No, not really. Oh, repositioned. Maybe that was it. That okay. There is one thing that Teal did that was really strange. There's like 1 minute 57 left. Teal repositions to another point in the conversation, and then the contact goes off. I think that that is it. And then maybe we get credited with a reverse bug on the way out. And then I just don't know what the shot happens for. I
Yeah, that was my mistake. I think I referred to the sniper as Rob, but that was actually David W. I probably just saw something that he really didn't like, maybe just something that looked very spy-like. Hard to say for sure.
Yeah, I mean there's just a talk animation, but like it's a strange time to talk because or same time to flirt if it was a flirt.
Yeah.
So yeah, just a shot that only David will understand. But unfortunately for them, does not work out.
Yep, and Koopa takes a 1-0 lead on his doubled venue, and yeah, so let's see how David W answers back as spy. Spying as Seek. So let's go in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
And not to throw too much narrative of it into it, but whatever David did there, it was a really particular shot, and it can throw players off if they shoot based on like a hunch or intuition early on, and they don't actually shoot for something like, okay, well that's reasonable. It was a 50-50 between these, and I just chose wrong. Brush it off. Whatever he did didn't work, and I hope that doesn't actually throw him off for the rest of his sniper games.
Yeah, still many more matches to be played since, it is the first to nine. So, yeah, it's interesting to see how these early strategies kind of pay out over the course of a long game. Um, yeah, a shot like that, like especially when you don't have a lot of mission credit, if you had been right, that can kind of really get in your head. But yeah, when you're wrong, it may have you questioning yourself for the remaining matches.
And I really like what DavidW just did there. David, this is actually unlike his other. What is happening? He's so fast compared to what he normally is. This is great. David positioned himself far back in that conversation so that if Ambassador was coming by, we could have a reverse drive-by bug. Ambassador went the other direction, so we bailed out for a seduction and then seduced and left pretty quickly for a much faster pace than we normally have. Unfortunately, there's this weird pacing problem that you hit at bar, where if there's a lot of people there, it's just going to take a long time. And I want to say Ambassador's not taking a drink, so there's no fingerprint on this. Yeah, no fingerprint on this one. I wasn't sure if we were aiming for that one. Is Ambassador? No, okay, no, Ambassador just waiting at the corner. It just looks weird.
Yeah, so it looks like the party has, once again been fairly active early on. Maybe, it does feel quite early for a purloin, but this maybe could be a situation where you could get away with it just based on how many visitors there have been so far. Um, yeah, because aside from the flirt, the pending delegate, not too much progress so far. We do have the ambassador leaving Prince right next to us. We can see if that might factor into our plans.
You would think though that like okay, so if I apropos of nothing, if my opponent doubles Aquarium, I feel like they are comfortable tracking Purloin. Just because like by the nature of the fact that you are signaling that you like Aquarium, you have to be okay at doing these kind of Purloins. Like this Purloin, just to be honest, is not particularly special. Are we going to do a little bug movement out? We are not. And actually, even Koopa comes in and checks. Throws out a lot of low lights, interestingly, I guess, for inactivity on the front and maybe. Oh, we just do
Well,
a. Oh, doesn't work.
yeah, the purloin did go off, and we Oh, I think we were actually ultimately killed for the bug, but yeah, interesting. The purloin went off, and we didn't move our position in combo, so it could have already been onto us just based off of tracking the purloin properly. But either way, yeah, Koopa gets a nice 2-0 lead to start here on Aquarium.
Something I do like is if David was gonna win that game, it was probably gonna be off of a move like that, where after the I actually want to look at his screen real quick. I want to see the timing, so because I want to see basically whether or not I can credit David with noticing the lowlights on the front for the purloin, and if then did the bug because they had just done the things and flicked away. Yeah, actually, the timing's not bad. He maybe just a little bit later than he should have been because right after those lowlights, I think would have been the ideal time. But I like the fact that we went for something aggressive there because after you see the laser flick around a lot, you know that what the sniper has done is they're very on top of uh, reducing the guest count down, which means that you need to have their mission count off on you if you have a chance of finishing. So the bug did get a shot, but it was going to be needed for something like that bug to win that game.
All right, and let's get on to round three here. So it looks like we have Koopa on the spy as plane twin in three, two, one, playing it. And yeah, as you mentioned, if that bug was actually based off of the laser movement, knowing that he's going for those highlights, that is quite clever. I think it's just quite unfortunate that just based off of our positioning, it was quite visible.
Yeah, and if you're gonna do that, you're gonna do the distraction thing. You actually have to do it while they are low lighting, not after they've gotten comfortable. Okay, we're gonna do a white test microfilm here. It looks like it's gonna be pretty clean with the shark partially covering, or at least kind of distracting. I don't think we're gonna get picked up on that at all. Especially, this is actually an interesting thing to note. Oh no!
Really,
Perhaps we
really
did
highlight.
get. Yeah, was that just for positioning? Or did we get something for the microphone? It's interesting feeling like I'm being disproven in real time because I was about to say is that actually might be a gap in David's play where if David is looking for pairs at the beginning, something like an action test microphone at the beginning might be really well suited for for a matchup versus him. So I This highlight is super different depending on the circumstance. Although, if it's a pair thing, if it's about a position, it is bad because we are next to our ST.
Yeah, so I have two thoughts on that. So I mean, one, it could just be being at the bookshelf behind the shark, but then again, the other who was with us, I don't believe they picked up a highlight. The other, okay, and I may be the least qualified person to comment on this, but I know that pathing snipers like to do lowlights and highlights based off of how you move around those couches, and that was about the time that highlight came, so it may just be something related to the path that he took.
It could be, and now we are following our ST. So this is going to be particularly dangerous, right? Because I feel like, so I think there's three options, right? I think you're right that the pathing is in there because how far away from the forbidden couch are you straying? Are you avoiding it too much, right? Where it's not confirming evidence, but it's suspicious. So the pathing is going to be a problem, but the big problem is right now we have partial completion on something where we still need to do more with it. So we're gonna have to flirt again, and I feel like there might be some pair credit thrown our way. We have might have partial credit on the microfilm, but then we have to go do another microfilm. So basically, not only is Koopa a highlight with only partial credit and a lot of playing left to do, it's probably for something that later will have confirming evidence about it, and particularly this microfilm right here is going to tell us basically everything about whether or not David's going to be able to catch this or not.
Yeah, so yeah, I love the aggression, I love the play, but surely David has to at least be aware, like, okay, you've been to both bookcases and you were behind the shark both times, and your highlights, so definitely on the radar. Question is, is Koopa just that confident with his finishes that he thinks, even with all that suspicion, I can still find a way to win this?
Koopa spaced that out very well, by the way. I was like, that is really close to whether or not a white flirt will finish that flirt. But it is just the right amount of distance without maybe picking up too much. Are we pretending we're going for briefcase here? No, we are not. We're far enough away that I don't think that's actually illegal. And then double agent is gonna bail on us, which sucks because we really wanted that contact. And now we have to figure out something that we're gonna do in the meantime. And ambassador comes up right next to us. Like I know that it's still like sharky. Oh, I think we're gonna get shot right here. And it takes a little bit though, but not
Brilliant.
too much.
Brilliant shot from David. I was about to just comment on like what an absolute gift that was. That we're low on missions, we're low on time. The ambassador comes right next to us, right as the shark is passing, and David like still just a good enough sniper to recognize what happened and take the shot.
Yeah, and not only that, like I think that so not only probabilistically inferring it, I think we saw the weight on the feet shift, which I think is just really cool because obviously we think of bug as an upper body tell, but if you are standing, not only do you see the shoulders and head shift, but the body slides over just slightly, and so I don't know if David knew that they need to position themselves in that way to see the body shift, where you can see the lean of the jacket pleats come apart in the front. But we ended up being in the position, a perfect spot. Honestly, I think that well, I guess a twitch would have been seen anyway, so I think we're gonna be screwed either way. Just well done, and too bad about the bail on the contact. But even if we did the contact, we were probably in a bug in that position, and David was gonna be onto us. So good on
Yeah.
him, and we are now at 2-1. Koopa still in the lead.
All right. So we got David W as Seek in 3, 2, 1, playing it. Yeah. So I'm sure David's got to be feeling good, bringing it back a little bit on Koopa's double pick. Maybe a little bit more expected on the sniper side, at least pick up one of the wins. But I'm sure he would love to do something on the spy side here.
And it is well, like you're saying, like Aquarium is one of the closer to 50-50s, even though obviously the game overall has like a slight cyber balance. But it's actually one of the reasons I actually think this is a particularly interesting map to start on because it's going to tell you a lot about the relative aggression that the two players can have. Because not only do you have to be aggressive as spy, you actually have to be aggressive as sniper, which bit David in the first game, but then really led to him getting his hooks into a character that was going to have a particular gift to them later and get the shot off on a pretty decent timed bug. So I guess basically this is teaching me a little bit about where the level of aggression on these players are because neither one has gotten particularly close to mission finishes. Both of them have been less aggressive on the spy side than they've been on the sniper side.
Yeah, so this party is really contrasted with the previous games in that everyone is really just sitting in conversation instead of going to mission sites. And David opts to just go ahead and get the quick two flirt. But this it kind of makes you wonder how he's gonna carry on from here because once we start going around doing missions, like we're certainly gonna become suspect number one very quickly.
I think we were going to go for like a straight up rush if we hit that difficult fingerprint. Because, there's kind of like this RNG of if you're able to get a two flirt right off the bat and maybe something like a little nice little difficult fingerprint or something, where it's just like the sniper has no idea if you are able to hit a two flirt or not, right? And so it's basically random. And so what it does is it allows for you to be in these positions where, as spy, if you just get a quick two flirt, sometimes you're like, well, I guess this might be a rush game because I need to sprinkle some of those in. Um, and we are seeing a little bit. Oh, this is perfect timing for this. I think I would love to see a contact distract from the take on this purloin. I mean, we'll see it because it actually would be a lot of lowlights out there. It'd be very juicy. I think we are going to opt not to do it, unfortunately, because I really would love to see it. But we're zoomed in on the ambassador right now, so we're actually going to miss the drink take. It's going to take a bit before I think we see anything with the purloin, and because of that, just the random timing of that, we do guard the bug. But does Koopa see that purloin's gone?
Yeah, I think by now he may be aware that it's gone, but a couple extra visitors came to bar, so we at least we don't have it pinpointed. Okay, and actually no, so Koopa seems very on top of this based off of these lights.
Yeah, no, his response has been actually really good for a late purloin notice. This is actually pretty
Banana
nice.
bread.
Fake banana bread. It's
We're
gonna actually
removing one
knock out
more.
one of them. Oh, but it's I was gonna say it doesn't look like it's working out very well, but now Koopa's hovering a lot over an area. Yeah, okay. I think now there's actually a little bit of panic on Koopa's side. I think that at first Koopa was showing an excellent response, but now bringing those characters back in makes me think that there's a little bit missing, and we might see a Civ shot. But David has to do something in the meantime.
Yeah, I feel like David must have a plan here because this seems very similar to the approach the last time he was spying on Aquarium. Even the same down to the same spy, same mission sequence. But
Banana
yeah,
bread.
not much time here though to find a finish.
Yeah, and this is going to knock out one of the other big suspects in it, so I don't think there's going to be a shot going off. So, oh, and no, there is going to be a shot going off, and it's just going to be on us. I'm actually quite surprised at the timing of that shot. So it's weirdly enough, even though a shot onto the spy should be more impressive than a forcing of a timeout, I think that Koopa was slightly uncomfortable doing this game because if they had an actual mission count on Seek, I don't actually love the timing of that shot. It was, let's see, Banana Bread was at 16. It was just before OT, so I guess it does prevent in case we just miss something entirely, but it feels like that shot had an edge of desperation on it. So I do feel like David confused Koopa a little bit, but Koopa did recover.
Agreed. I think it was one of those shots where you don't really feel entirely comfortable taking it, but just he's like, I need to make the shot here. Like maybe he had an extra mission on David credited. I think
Well,
that
he was next to the ambassador for a long time, so I think that Koopa was really worried about Seek next to ambassador at that conversation, and actually distracted from the purloin. So unfortunately for David, one of the things is David didn't get anything from that bug, but they did have this moment where they were operating as a distraction. So at first, it looked like it was really lucky in that there was this thing where he didn't have to contact double agent, and there's a really late viewing of the purloin, and then a fake banana bread that set Koopa up with just a ton of suspects left. But then Koopa shot somebody that happened to be near the ambassador that they watched. That's just a little unlucky because I don't think that they would have had the mission count on David, but I think that David would have just timed out. So I think it was going to be a loss anyway. So not aggressive enough from David on that game, but also a little bit concerning for Koopa on it. But Koopa ends up taking the game.
All right, so let's see how David W could answer back on his doubled venue set. We're going to Terrace, and Koopa will be starting things off on the spy side with Seek in three, two, one, playing it.
And like you said, this is such a weird map to double. Like it's this map often gets picked if it's kind of like a, a basic map where like if you have to go deep into picks and like SCL or something like that, you see Terrace because it's kind of like people prefer it to a map they're bad at because they kind of feel like, well, I can't really be that good or that bad at Terrace. So you actually see it get picked a lot, but it's very rare to see it doubled because it just ends up being so coin flippy all the time.
Yeah, this it feels like such a David pick though, since it's it's one of those maps where I don't know about you, but I never feel like fully comfortable on it. But surely he has something up his sleeve where he just just feels like I'm the one in control on this venue set.
Yeah, and it's funny because like Aquarium is a very common double pick because it's people very split on it, right? Whether or not they feel comfortable on it or not. I am one of the people that does not feel super comfortable on it, and so Aquarium might even be one of maybe the most common double pick. I'm really curious about that actually, especially with there's if there's a lot of venues, because some people will just pick a map they feel sort of comfortable on. But as far as a map with specialists, I can't think of a map with more specialists than Aquarium.
So pretty aggressive here. So I was about to comment. I mean, Koopa was quite safe on the flirt, going opposite convo, but we immediately delegate to Twin here as our first mission.
Yeah, I mean, this is just going to test him out a little bit. We are very clearly watching the take, which we don't really even need to be that clear on it. But here are going to come the lowlights. Wow, we are lowlighting some of the people that were in. Oh, wow, we're just going to lowlight down. Okay. I believe that I would say the spy is disadvantaged in this position.
Yes, it's yeah, quite difficult to win from here. Somehow, Smallman is still in the mix though, so that that's
Oh,
always nice.
well, I mean, so this is interesting as what, yeah. I mean, okay, so this could be, so I think we're pretty. Oh, what is happening? I'm a little bit worried. I don't know if David is just pretending at this point, or if this is actual like uncertainty on his part. Because yeah, you're right. The small one was the only one, just because every once in a while you just forget or you miss a low land small one because they're hidden. Um, I have no real track over whether or not I'm concerned for David. I mean, I think right now David's not going to take a shot, which is going to be a problem for Koopa because I don't know if Koopa's actually going to be able to finish because seduction target is not cooperating.
Yeah, one thing I've learned from watching previous David W matches is even if you're a low light, he's still actually watching you. So you can't give his low lights too much credit because at one point I think he had the entire cast aside from
and the end
seeing
of
low
red.
lit, which is kind of a statement. But
Wait,
I
why
think
is he? Okay, I think he's messing with messing. Yeah. Okay, that last part was total show, absolute show. I think that David was trying to bait out a bug because he'd already low lit Smallman and Danger and Smallman were never of interest to him. But I think that he positioned his laser over to the left because he just wanted to get maybe like a smidgen more intel on whether or not Koopa might go over for the bug. It also allowed a moment for him to line up a shot where if you aim away, right, if someone is going to dance at the end, let's say they actually put us into mission completion, if you aim away, the spy may not actually start moving for a moment, and then you can whip over and kind of line up your shot. Because that last part was total bullshit. David was not caring about Papa or Smallman, so not actually
yeah,
sure what happened there.
I am inclined to agree. And in chat, David W seems to be implying that you are onto him. So let's yeah, so nice sniping there from David, and let's see what he can do on the spy side here as wheels in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
And Wheels, like I actually, we used to have this thing where we called Wheels discount Smallman. It's been a while since somebody actually used him that way. I would love to see some discount Smallman plays on Terrace because it's one of the spots where you can actually use some of the spots where Wheels isn't as good as Smallman, but still has the angle because of how low the sniper is on Terrace. You can get away with a lot more than you normally can as Wheels on this, even though Smallman is still better without the additional suspension. So I'm excited for it, but it might end up just being like a Purloin and Flirt, and nothing really matters about our height.
Yep, so 49% on that first flirt, so we are luckily in that two flirt range. Um, yeah, one thing about wheels and Terrace in general. So watching a lot of Terrace sets, like I know there are good positions you can put yourself in to make a bug, to get away with a clean bug, which usually can put you in a great position to win on Terrace. Wheels, however, is known for not having the greatest bugs, so I don't think that's in his plans for this round.
So a direct. I don't even know if this. I think it was. Okay, so was this? Is this on Papa? I did not pay good enough attention to who we were because I was not expecting a pro in this early. So I am guessing that this is either on Papa or just a really early direct. I think that this is a send from Papa Danger that we are saying. So it doesn't look like there's a much of a reaction yet. Well, no, no, that's not true. I just looked at the party again. There's been a reaction. I think that we have narrowed it down, and now it's just going to be a 50-50. We're going to finish this flirt hopefully soon here, and then just wait for an opportunity to contact with it, and then it's just going to be a read on Koopa. I like this play, by the way. So right now, ooh, that's really bad actually, for multiple reasons. Oh my God, Danger's not even coming here. This pathing is actually really good. Uh, uh, I don't know if okay. Sometimes pathing can look so bad that it's good, and so good that it's bad. I don't know where Koopa is going to land on that, but that pathing from Papa Danger is actually really
Banana
AI
bread.
like. So I'm actually very concerned for David at this
Oh,
point.
and notice how we timed that. We contacted as soon as Kane started talking, making it look like he had the white contact, and we actually had the green. So what was probably a 50-50 might actually be tilted in our favor now.
So the problem is so here's the good thing. With that weird path, we got put next to wheels again. Oh, this is interesting. Okay. No way. No fucking way. Oh my god. Come on. Come on, hit this. Oh my god. Oh my god. I really want to Oh my god. Oh my god. Is he really going to get this? Cuz Koopa's on him. He really wants to shoot him actually. Jesus Christ, that game.
Oh, and incredible! Like, did he just predict General was gonna come join him at bar? Like, how did he know? I mean, I guess sometimes the cards just kind of fall in your favor, so to speak.
I would love to give David credit for that. I mean, like, okay, so General was about to move because General was at statues putting something down. So the bar movement put us into what I call a perch, where we can just kind of sit there, wait for a selection target, and then move there. Often you do windows for that, but actually bar is safer. It's less suspicious than just going to windows and then repositioning next to your selection target. But then, because of that, also the weird thing about the using bar as a perch is you can stay there longer. I actually really like that. I'm actually going to come back to that someday as a theme because you can choose to leave bar. Man, bar is a great perch. I love that. I'm going to talk about that later. But we do because we put ourselves in that numbers game. If General had come on either side of us, we were in range for a green flirt, and we put ourselves in a great position because if General went to conversation circle, we can just leave bar. There's nothing actually wrong with that, right? It's not a hard tell or anything, and then we can just reposition ourselves next to General and flirt, and then do that. It's way more suspicious, but yeah, fantastic. Great job on hitting the green test. That would have been such a disappointment if we didn't. I was partially wondering if we'd get a shot from Koopa because that would have been a huge shot. But yeah, those are actually really fun Terrace game. There's not a lot of those that entertain me as much. That game was great.
Yeah, brilliant, brilliant game. And with that sweep, we take things to 3-3. And yeah, so here is Koopa spying as Irish on Terrace in 3, 2, 1, playing it. Yeah, so I mean, it's just funny how luck can swing and around like that because I was thinking this is, awful. Our ST left us right as we were about to finish flirt. He's spending an incredible amount of time at statues, only for him to just join us at perfect range for that green flirt at the end.
Yeah, that was wonderful. And like the thing is, that was a really it's unusual for you to get a mission win off of a super early, correctly identified 50-50, right? That 50-50 was identified like less than a minute in, right? And so it's rare for you to get a mission win because if you get to mission win, uh, uh, you it's whether or not you're just gonna get like shot, right? Like or the other person's gonna get shot. So usually that's the kind of condition is like if you go super late in the game and you get a mission win, it's because you've done enough activity that the snipers be like, okay, I've seen you do those missions. I'm gonna shoot you because I don't want to leave this up to just me not doing anything, right? And not really being willing to shoot. So rare game that one. Very cool.
Yeah, a little unlucky here from Koopa. Was right about to get off the second flirt when our ST bailed on us, and it looks like we are going to follow.
I also just heads up to Koopa on really, I think, being tempted by that shot. But anyways, we are in this next game, which is shaping up to be more of a normal game. I mean, we're gonna see if we take this contact, which is pretty bad, but oh no, it's actually terrible. I was gonna say it's not as bad now that pencil joined. Weird, weird. Disney is acting strange. Um, Disney came over, went for the briefcase, abandoned, and then happened to end up right basically where they were standing. Um, I don't know if David is going to consider that ultra suspicious or ultra not suspicious. We just do a white
Oh,
swap.
oh, white swap, very interesting choice.
I mean, this is
Uh,
basically whether or not he catches it.
yeah, and I guess maybe another thing to like, are we swapping for someone? I don't recall if another guest was at that statue before.
I'm going to assume that if Koopa went for a swap, that we were just looking for a spot where a guest was. So obviously, for Terrace, it's an interesting question. For Terrace, it's interesting because if you go and you swap for somebody, they're more likely to watch that statue. I actually prefer if there's just nobody at that statue at all because then it just they might just like blind face, never check that statue. And in fact, yeah, we were the only person that visited the statue. I actually like that play from Koopa.
Yeah,
Um,
it's a very interesting try, but yeah, it looks like David was in fact on top of it.
Yeah, so as soon as we actually identify that swap, maybe remember where the other inspect was, because it looks like the other inspect was there's a bunch of other people at the other statues. It didn't really seem to be getting highlights for those at all. But as soon as we were able to identify, oh wait, that's the only person that's been to either of those statues over there. Saw the swap, got the shot. Just good
Yep.
heads up play.
And with that, David W takes the lead for the first time in the match, and we'll be spying now as Duke in three, two, one, playing it.
And so
Yes, on
we've seen an aggressive game. We've seen like a really late 50-50 game. We haven't seen a normal finish, I think, yet on Terrace.
Yeah, and I mean after that last match, I'm just eager to see what he has in store because just going for that early direct purloin is it's really just not at all what I expected, but it worked out so brilliantly. Um, yeah, and I like the spot here by the ST, and I do like this positioning combo because sometimes based on how the conversations fill up, we can get some bug opportunities here.
Yep. And we get a weak flirt, and so here's one thing: is as David, I think, has actually gotten a lot faster just in general. But as a fellow slow
Banana
player,
bread.
one of the things I can say is throwing yourself into a 50-50 early is a great commitment strategy for curbing the excesses of a slow play style. So I think that if you are a slow player, you're gonna have weird experience. Oh, interesting reposition from Wheels. I actually think that might get Wheels a low light. I don't know how. Yeah, that would just be such a weird thing for them to do. Um, but anyway, if you play really slow, you're gonna find yourself in weird endgame scenarios more often than other players because you're in that weird position more often.
Banana
If you do
bread.
a 50-50, you have to be really creative with how you finish your missions because you're just gonna be highly watched. So basically, I like every once in a while forcing yourself into a 50-50 if you find yourself being slow as a player because you're going to intuitively find ways to try to finish.
Yeah, so we have two fake contacts already. So both of them, like between the two of them, I think only one player was knocked out, and I think four or five guests were actually giving real credit. So yeah, but honestly pretty good contacts from David. Like we're still way behind in terms of missions, but in terms of letting other guests pick up mission credit, we're doing pretty well in that regard.
Yeah, we've actually seen a bunch of fakes from David so far, just in general. Now, both Aquarium and Terrace are just more common for players in general to throw in fakes. So it will remain to be seen whether or not this is going to be something that follows us through the game on maps that are less likely to see more fakes, like Ballroom or something. But yeah, I'm just curious to see if that keeps going or if David thinks that that's something that Koopa has trouble with because Koopa did seem to have a little bit of trouble with the fake after the purloin on the aquarium game about how exactly to parse that out. We're going to do a step away delegate. So I mean that's basically going to be the entire game is going to be contacting, delegating, getting the last flirt in probably, and then whether or not Koopa is on
Banana
top of
bread.
the fact that we did a walkaway delegate.
Yeah, so we're actually not trying to frame since we send the DA. We're actually going for a finish here.
Oh
ST loses
no!
right at the last minute.
Oh my god, no. Oh my god, this is so awkward. Okay, okay, that's it's actually okay that it's a cross. Oh my god, this is gonna be such a long pending. Oh my god. Like luckily the thing is like at least this pending will still take because we did that walk away and we in pretty quickly into it. And just here it is and like good on Koopa. Like cuz actually that is a very intelligent shot even if we didn't realize um, where the shot should go as far as like we didn't I don't think we knew for certain that it was Duke. Obviously not. Otherwise we would have shot early on that. But we actually got to see Koopa use the time they have in OT to actually start parsing out. Okay, who could actually be done, right? Who was talking near the end of it? Maybe we caught some of that chasing, and then just basically rather than doing a lot of deductive work, I think we did a lot of inductive work of adding up a case for, hey, Duke was acting strange at the end of the game. I can't parse this out. Wasn't there a contact near the end? Maybe Duke, maybe we remember that Duke was in that conversation for that contact near the double agent. There's all sorts of weird stuff that Koopa was able to parse out.
Yeah, a little unfortunate that I think ST bailing and us chasing might have kind of led to that, but also like really good on Koopa for just having the awareness to know that we were probably the ones who sent the DA in that situation. But yeah, I'm really impressive play, and with that we're tied heading into library. So it looks like here we will have Koopa spying as Tex in three, two, one, playing it.
Yeah, and so this is going to be a very different map from the first two in just a lot of ways. Like there's just so many more missions that they have to get done, and you have less control over the party in this than the other two. So basically, I think both spies haven't been super aggressive except for that one 50-50 game we showed early on. So I think we're gonna have to see either a lot more iterative, patient play or just straight up aggression, and it's going to test them in a little bit different way.
Yeah, nice early flirt progress too, all the way on the right side window pad. So David W, who I think does track flirt pairs, probably did not see that early flirt. Um, Yeah, so interesting. Yeah, interesting venue, and the fact that we can't really watch the whole venue at once. And I think David has been pretty open that he doesn't really like sniping on this particular venue. So yeah, we'll have to see how Cuba can take advantage of that.
And we're gonna see if David noticed us taking the position for the reverse bug on the spot. It is the spot for bugs. It's better even than I think than the other similar spot on the other side. Ambassador walks by, very clinical, and basically just a behavioral tell at that point about the positioning and the timing of when we put ourselves there, and that we left pretty soon after Ambassador had gone through. That said, sometimes, like, honestly, snipers can treat Bug like a gimme on this map and just play it like a 4 of 7 and do fine, so I don't even know if we're going to be watching Bug that closely.
Yeah, I think it's possible that maybe we were given some kind of credit, but not enough to be a top suspect at this time. Um, so I think as we go on and accumulate more missions, he might think back to like, okay, this person very likely does have bug when he's considering the mission count.
Yeah, and Ambassador's been super active about walking around, so at some point, also, some players will just give up on keeping Bug credit if Ambassador is constantly moving. Because the thing about Ambassador constantly moving is that they're not leaving a ton of fingerprints. If they're bouncing between conversation circles and just like paths, um, we are getting this. There's not a fingerprint on this. Oh wait, no, sorry, I lied. I was totally wrong. Ambassador did put this back, so we're actually being pretty aggressive on this fingerprint. This because it's pretty quick after the Ambassador left it. Um, but I don't actually mind it. It looks like Ambassador might even drop another one on this. Nope. Oh nope. Yeah, yeah, they will.
Yeah, slightly unfortunate path too, going for that fingerprint. I think Disney was blocking the back of the conversation that we wanted to go through, kind of forcing us to cut right through the conversation. Maybe just based off of that placement, that might be an okay path, but I think that could have caught David's attention.
If there's no lag, that flirt was amazing. If there's a little bit of lag, I think that walk away is going to be suspect. So I really hope that there's no lag because that is actually very well timed by Koopa to do that flirt and walk away. Right now, this to me is text is suspicious. If you're noticing who is just constantly moving from site to site of like partial kind of like suspicious-ish things, and we're just gonna go for an inspect swap, I think. like actually we have so much time. We might just play it safe and just go middle inspect into contact. But actually, I wouldn't mind a swap. But I say that that's just more exciting. It's probably better for us to just do an inspect and contact because it's so early.
Yeah, and the question is, how close has David been tracking fingerprints? Because if he has, we must be suspect number one right now. I think maybe just the fact that he hasn't heard the contact yet is why he's not shooting. He knows that more than likely there's one mission that's not accounted for, or that couldn't have been completed at this point.
Yeah, agreed. And I think one of the big things is, and especially something that David might be willing to shoot for, is how aggressive are we going to be about this contact? Like, are we going to walk in and contact ASAP or not? And it
Send me in the
looks like
red.
we are kind of beelining for it, and we are going to do it right away. I am a little well. We are looking for lowlights. It would
Yeah,
have
I
to
don't.
be in 2 seconds. I think we're good.
Yeah, honestly, incredible aggressive play from Koopa. I think, we were just on top of the fingerprints and we just got away with at least one of those missions. Or maybe we just never had the original bug credit. That could be the case too.
Well, actually, just like that was just a solid, well-paced game from Koopa. They just did all the little pieces of that right, and the ending banana bread was a little aggressive, only because even if someone was trying to frame Tex, it would have been a little bit too soon. But um, honestly, they just put themselves in position to win and just hope to not to have enough time left that they didn't think that there was mission credit, or sorry, that they would be done with missions. And indeed, either they missed all the fingerprints or the bug. There just wasn't enough for David to shoot. Well done, Koopa.
Yeah, really impressive from Koopa. And with that, Koopa is once again in the lead. And David W will be spying here as general in three, two, one, playing it.
So obviously, when you think of general on library, you think of statue blocks. So we will see if that actually comes into play. Because that's just something that he's just so strong at, in library in particular. It's just really strong. We request a drink from a waiter. I think we're gonna do an early purloin. Oh no, 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 no!
That
This
is
is
highly unfortunate, and I wanted to mention that even though we're not actually flirt paired with Queen, we were standing right next to her at window pads, and it's such a common flirt pairing that we may have got some suspicion for that as well.
so okay. Okay. Oh shoot. This is so bad. Oh wait, no, no. Okay, this isn't so bad. So okay, this is gonna be such a strange thing to parse out at this point. So I think that Koopa decided that we were more interested in the lowlights than the highlights. Which honestly, this early in the game, if you can train that reaction in yourself, for like a cough or a crash or a clink. Well, clink's a little bit different. You can usually identify clinks cleaner because you just don't. You might not know where Toby is that early. You have to look for a second. Is that if you just take those lowlights, it's so early in the game that just feels great. Um, so I think we're committing more to the lowlights because I was really interested in seeing what happens if he had those 5 highlights and he kept them. Because watching 5 people very closely on library could actually be really counterproductive. I think that actually would put Koopa into a worse position than they should be if they're just committing on the lowlights.
Yeah, and I mean the other question you of course have to consider is, was it intentional? I know sometimes spies will try to do a really quick drink take, which if not timed properly, can lead to the glass breaking. Um, only David knows for sure. But personally, I wouldn't want to be in the situation where only there's six viable guests. But maybe David has a plan here.
I think Dave's in a terrible position now. That highlight on the timing on that highlight there was for nothing. And I think we're just like I think we're recovering from
Send me in the red.
what we had thought about earlier in the game. So I think that it's gonna be really tough for David to win because we just have nothing done. There's nothing we can't really force anything like really bad. We are going back and forth on Disney though, which is a little concerning. Now the good news is if you mess up a spy game, you are messing up on library. The other spy, sorry, the other player did just win a spy on library, but your individual chances on this were probably like 30% kind of at best. Um, so if he did mess up, I don't think he should feel too awful about it because it's more that messing up on the sniper probably going to burn them a little bit more. But yeah, so I do think we were going for a super early purloin that we'd intentionally done. We are going to just do the second purloin, which I think is actually kind of smart because because I feel like if you do a crash, sometimes you'll just avoid purloin like the plague because it just it bit you earlier. But I think throwing it back in there is good, and we do good shot. We were just going to be kind of screwed with that game unless they were truly uncertain about the people at the beginning.
Yeah, I think that's really all Koopa needed. I think David W. Honestly, I think he just made a mistake early on, and he was ready to just stop the bleeding at that point.
Yeah. But I am glad that David kept playing a normal game just because um, let's say that either we got away with that crash and we walked away and we got low lit even. Uh, you don't know what's happening to you as spy. You might feel super far behind, but you should just play it out like you're not, because the best chance you have is if they didn't see you. If they saw you and you're like one of just like one or two people and like you're near the crash, you're dead. That early in the game, you're just dead. Stop. Don't try to play a game where you're trying to like squeeze out a low light or something out of that situation. Just play as if they didn't notice it. And I think that David was still playing that game out, which is if Copa had completely missed it, we were still in good shape. So, anyways, way to play out the rest of that game. But yep, good on Koopa for navigating that very strange situation on library very quickly.
Okay, and next it looks like we're moving on to Ballroom, and we have Koopa as Boots spying in three, two, one, playing it.
All right, and we are walking towards Ambassador. We're going to. I would love if somebody ever really uses early collision redirect opportunities to be near that person later, because often when you're time of chaos and you're looking for your seduction target, you're just gonna be moving around, and sometimes you'll see your seduction target and use them as your colliding point to go meet them later, because you use them to collide and go with them because you just use them to collide. I would love to see if any sniper just picks up on that. It's just such a low probability of being useful, but that would just be a lot of fun. I would love it. It'd be cool.
Yeah, it looks like pretty standard play from Koopa here. I think he was waiting to see where his ST was going to settle. Yeah, just kind of getting that flirt progress, seeing how the party plays out, and yeah, maybe possibly just waiting for some fingerprints or just waiting for some opportunities to open up before he starts going for additional missions here.
Yeah, and so we're probably seeing the fingerprint going to be at the right statue. So there's a couple of rejects on the drink. Basically, if we are timer flirting right now, Koopa better be looking for a bunch of stuff. Like right now, we know that fingerprint's there. It's then that briefcase is going to get taken. What are we doing except for this? Why aren't we looking around at other things, like getting a sense of the rest of the party? Ambassador's moving towards us. I don't think we. Oh, we are going
Oh,
to
and we
purloin
do join in
here.
on that purloin chain. Unfortunately, it's a white though, and I think David is probably going to notice this. So
Well,
I think he doesn't have a direct read on the
oh,
fade,
there
so
we
he's
go.
just going to narrow things down instead.
Yeah, I was gonna say the hesitation on Rocker there gave me a little bit of a fright, but it does look like we have a decent idea of this, and we've kept in everybody, and I think we have kept us highlight as the taker, um, which is weird actually. I am very concerned for us as being the taker and getting this specific highlight, where I'm thinking that maybe these other neutralites are people that may have, no, actually there's way too many neutralites. So yeah, the neutralites are people that may have been in the chain. The highlights I think are people are there definitely in the chain, or Papa Danger might have been a highlight for just other activity.
Yeah, so I mean, these are situations, even though like even though we basically saw as purloin, these are situations people have won from because I mean, you can contact, you can get an invisible bug, but the problem is, it's just it's really difficult. Like it's difficult for us to pull that off. It's possible, just unlikely, I'll say.
The other problem, Double Agent joins us. I don't think this is like, I think we have to wait on this banana bread. Like if Double Agent joins you, it feels like a gift. But if you are part of like a well, not like a 50-50, but like
Banana bread.
anticipating being high, all right, the banana breads can come off. Waiting is good just because if you're the spy, you're like, oh god, yes, the Double Agent came to me. Banana bread as soon as possible.
Yeah, so
Um,
we do have a white contact there, and I think we did stop talk as well. So if David was paying attention, that probably just gives him a little more confidence in taking the shot.
Ambassador is going to be moving. We do not join for the double walking. Are we just going to time out?
No,
Oh, we're
looks
going
like
to
we're
go to
going for the
bookcase.
bug.
Yeah. Yeah, we're using this as oh, that Boots' snapback is brutal, man. Like, actually, the bug wasn't that bad. The pathing was a little bit. There was a little bit of a clip right there, but yeah, that the snapback to the middle hand position with the drink is just terrible. So, too bad. And even though throwing in a purloin, maybe you hit the green, maybe you don't. I think that Koopa's follow up on that was a little slower than needed to be because even if we had a good purloin, if we're bugging that late in that position, we already kind of feel behind.
Yeah, I like the thought process. It's one of those situations where you can purloin early and potentially get away with a win. Just didn't quite pan out. And yeah, and with that, let's see here. So we have David W spying as Teal in three, two, one, playing it.
All right, and we're going to be taking over as Teal, and we're going to be beelining for our ST here, and then maybe we're going to try to drink this drink real quick. Okay, get this, drink this drink, let someone offer. Oh, it's going to go to. Oh, God, drink this drink, drink this drink, drink your drink, drink your drink.
Yeah, we do have
Okay,
a
this is
little. I do have a little pillar cover here, which might make a bug a little more likely, even though a bug on wheels might not be as obscured as against other guests. But yeah, just based off the position of the pillar, I think that may give us enough confidence to go for it. Unfortunately, Koopa's got a really good angle, so I don't think it would work out if we did.
Yeah, so I think so even though we're missing on this Purloin opportunity, or sorry, I keep saying Purloin, even though we missed out on that fingerprint opportunity by keeping that drink, the drink in that hand protected us from bug suspicion, supposedly, like as long as Scoop aware of the drink and not worried about us. So that was the advantage of the drink. I still wish that we had, because we could have maybe gotten in one of those difficulties very naturally, but oh well. Um, we are now requesting this drink for a purloin. This chain is, I think there's only like one or two in it, but uh, I would love to see oh, no, there's just going to be, this is super watched. Yeah,
Yeah, a
we're going to be
little
seeing it.
little unfortunate that that didn't chain further. Yeah, as you mentioned, we did keep the drink in hand, so we don't have that bug credit. But as far as the purloin, this should be quite narrowed down. Um, when we did take the drink, I think we were behind the pillar, but I don't think it matters. I think Koopa like knows that we were the one being offered there. Not as many lowlights as I would suspect though. So maybe we were a little distracted from purloin at that time.
I think that Koopa was waiting on the low lights because we were waiting to see. Oh yeah, here comes the lights. I think that okay, yeah, I think that Coop had a read on it. So the reason why I think that we waited on the low
and the end
lighting,
of red.
this is just speculation on my part, is previously David has used the low lighting time to do something else. So after immediately noticing the purloin, I think we just kept in mind who's actually in the chain, and then watched the immediate follow up because it produces this reliable window of time for the spy to try to get away with something. And I think that Koopa was more interested in making sure there was no follow up with like a bug or something during that blind spot, and then came back to it later. So if you could take a snapshot of a purloin and you know who it is, why not wait a second and just like see, make sure there's no follow up, clear that, and then do something where you actually take the lowlights after a breath.
Yeah, so interesting play here with the fake contact. So actually, we knew that the double agent was out of conversation, with the majority of guests
And
being
the
in
end of red.
conversation. But at that time, I think only about two, yeah, I think two guests got contact for real at that time. But this one is much better with several getting real contact or real credit rather.
I was Salmon out of conversation during that second contact though? I couldn't tell. He was moving right after. Oh,
Uh,
that's death.
Good question, but yeah, yeah, I think we might be a little too close to the ambassador here.
Ooh, what?
And the end of
I'm
red.
very so right now. Oh, this is really strange. Okay, no, okay, okay. Good on Koopa. Oh, so we had a good mission count then, because I was gonna say that bug credit, or sorry, that bug path was very suspicious, right? Obviously, um, and so I was really worried for Koopa after we didn't take that shot. But I think that Koopa had a good enough read on the mission count to be like, well, you're not done with missions yet. Well, no, that didn't we do a fake with an ST at some point? Let me look at those fakes real quick. Um, how many fakes? Okay, there's a fake here. Okay, there's nobody in there. Okay, so I guess fake here. That oh, that's no. That there was a contact. I'm surprised at that one because we could have, as far as Koopa knows, we could have done a contact with General. So I'm a little bit surprised that there was not a shot um, earlier than what it was.
Mhm.
So I think we missed that bug. So good bug, but still got shot.
Okay. Yeah, and with that, Koopa has a 7-5 lead heading into gallery. And Koopa will be spying. First time we've seen Smallman this set. In three, two, one, playing it.
Yeah, and it's Smallman on gallery. So the old school classic thing for Smallman on gallery is the barely move at the back conversation, like just do a bunch of stuff, like get away with murder after the back conversation fills up. You can just do so much. You can get away with a lot. You can get away with bugs. You can get away with purloin. You can get away with transferring. There's just so much you can do if you can operate in the back of that conversation. Normally, you want to get other stuff done, though. You usually do that after you get like a flirt done. But there have been like replays of several games where it's like Smallman positions themselves there, and then they just do everything right in that back conversation.
Yeah, pretty busy party too to start things off at least. Like a lot of statue visitors, a lot of at least a couple book takers. So yeah, probably not too much focus on us so far. We did only get the 34% flirt. It looks like we're coming out here to, but I believe this looks like a full conversation. We might be able to squeeze our way in, but no. Instead, we go to the window pad.
Yeah, and right now, David is just totally zoomed in, never even coming out and checking us. I'm worried that we're going to be barely. Oh, we don't go for this flirt. I'm a little bit concerned for our pacing now, though. Although Papa does leave, so we're probably going to stop in one of these painting pads and wait for Papa Danger to reposition. Are we not? Oh, nope. We're going to fake a full conversation on that very clearly not full conversation. But I mean, it doesn't really matter because I don't think David's gonna be watching for that kind of like path, that sort of like conversation stuff from that far away. But still, a little bit strange. And we're back to chasing our seduction target. They might fill up that. Oh nope, they're just going to window. Say if they go to that conversation, that might fill it up, and we can't actually join them. Oh, I don't think we can flirt here because we can't flirt across pads. Are we just gonna reposition? Oh no!
Yeah,
This is just horrible.
this is a little tragic here for Koopa. Like if only he knew that David W is zoomed in for the majority of this time, he could get away with a lot more than he's aware. But of course, he has no way of knowing that. Um, so yeah, as of now, ST is not cooperating. I think ST was absolutely in our early plans because we're here with 145 remaining and we only have that 34% progress. So I think Koopa's finally gonna just kind of give up on Kane and try to get some other mission progress elsewhere.
Yeah, but I think that the reason why a Smallman wants to flirt early is because then they can do a multiple mission gambit really quickly and like in rapid succession, either be completely just blindside during the time that window of time for the sniper, or just hide, right? So I think that we were really dedicated towards seduction target even more than normal because it's part of the particular game plan that Smallman is suitable for. But now we're just all sorts of behind on multiple things. So we could go get that fingerprint at bookshelf, but one is going to be smeared, and then oh, it's got a briefcase too. We gotta do
Based
something
off
else.
of
He's
the
shaking.
yeah, based on the timing and the lack of action, I want to assume that he's given up on finishing and is just hoping to get as many people in for a contact as he can. Um, the problem is a lot of people are just out, like especially like active people. So I mean, honestly, just so many plans are really just being taken away from us. Yeah, it's kind of a tough position to be in for Koopa here.
I am very curious if you're gonna take this bug. I think you maybe should have. That was actually a really good angle to take a bug. I mean, it's oh my god. Okay, well, it doesn't matter. We're small then. We're just invisible
Banana
back
bread.
here. So we're gonna fake this banana bread. We're gonna get this bug maybe. No, are we going to? We're gonna seduce. We're going to purloin. We can't finish. It's just gonna be a timeout.
Yeah,
David's not gonna shoot for anything.
I think this is the best we could have hoped for. Is got a somewhat full combo. Gave as many contact credit as we could, and just hope that some of them have a lot of missions. But David W was just on top of the mission counting here.
Yeah, so definitely too bad about the seduction targets. One thing I will say though is I think we were identifying that we were having time problems when we went out to the when we went out to front window and we were trying to seduce, but we couldn't seduce across the two windows. I think we needed to do a timeout there because there's nothing suspicious happening in the front, and we were already basically betting that either David was zoomed in or not going to be paying attention to us because if we joined our seduction target at windows, that was already going to be problematic. So I think we needed to add time there instead of just leaving because we already made the play to the window. But yeah, just a little bit unfortunate response to a unpredictable seduction target, and now David has the chance to tie it up, which is going to be real tough for us going into the last couple of maps if we feel like we tossed a game and then have to play it out.
Yep, and it looks like we'll be spying here as teal in three, two, one, playing it. Spawning right by the ST here. Probably just gonna wait and see where they settle. Pick up that early flirt progress.
Well,
So
they're
yeah, looks like.
bouncing around a lot.
Oh, and that's
That
gonna
was
be
a that's a
settled.
no, that's a great read. So that actually, I'm going to credit David with getting this flirt because there was clearly Twin was going into this conversation. That's why the redirects were happening in the first place, and we put ourselves into one of the gaps and left a gap. The surprising thing is that seduction target didn't push themselves in between us and rocker. I think that's what actually David was expecting, but we left a gap next to us, and that they were determined to get into this conversation circle. So really good, just like little light play right there. Where if you see somebody struggling to get into a conversation circle and it's your ST, go to one of the gaps, leave enough space, and then they'll probably set up next to you. Lucky that happened to be right behind us, which is just a little bit weird.
Yeah, and with that, we double green the seduce. So really great pacing here from David already. In a pretty good position. Of course, we still have to get some additional missions done here, but so let's see. Heading outside. Looks
I
like
say we
oh
might actually go to an inspect. Yeah, I was gonna say this makes entirely makes sense to me. Where if you get quick seductions off, and you just do a normal game from there on out, where you do inspect, contact, and just like never go to a conversation. Sorry, never go to flirt again. Interesting attempt at a low light. Um, yeah, that's interesting because we didn't need this other inspect. We are gonna get it, but we didn't need it because we'd have to go to the other set of statues no matter what. So, oh, actually, one thing I will say about that: getting the second inspect on the first statue that you go to leaves you better positioned for a swap block later if you want. So if you get both inspects in the first visit, it feels like it wouldn't make a difference on gallery, but it is if you are planning to inspect and swap block. This is a loopy path, but I'm surprised we don't actually go back into that conversation circle. That seems like where our character wanted to go.
yeah, it's kind of an interesting choice because we passed kind of close to the ambassador. Like hopefully we're not given bug credit for that. I do kind of wonder what the plan is. Yeah, an interesting choice with the statue, double inspect. It looks like Koopa is doing highlights here for partial inspect. So even though that was a somewhat AI-like move, I don't think that's really going to lower suspicion too much.
So I was expecting this move, but I was expecting us to have a contact coming into this. Um, okay, here we
Oh, and
go.
we do go for the pending swap.
Yeah, I absolutely kind of like this. See, I was expecting this exact play, but plus contact because I think that we intended to include swap in our play because we went and got that second inspect. But I was expecting for us to basically do the gamut of if I hit a green, great,
And the other red.
because you just green. But then if I hit a
Yeah, so
white, here we go.
the problem is Wheels is going to be the one swapping, so should be very on camera. And I think maybe we were hoping for the contact to, maybe distract from the swap. And oh, it looks like we actually pick up a highlight with this BB split. I'm sorry, a low light rather.
Yeah, no, I like that play a lot. So the only kind of gamble there is that if we hit a white swap, it was just going to give Koopa a lot of time to respond to it. But with the flirt and run, right, is we not only did a contact, but we also put ourselves in a ditch. Sorry, in a split situation where if we are splitting, we also drawing attention to ourselves where Koopa might be considering us for not a low light but for a highlight, but that's still distracting from the swap. Even if we get additional suspicion because they're like, hey, did Teal just split? I'm gonna watch where they go. If you're watching them, you're not watching the swap.
Yeah, and I mean, incredible play from David. This match is absolutely living up to expectations so far. Tied up 7-7 here, and yeah, so it looks like we're headed to Veranda for the last venue of this set, and so we have Koopa here, spying as Irish in 3, 2, 1, playing it. So yeah, we have so in this Winter Cup, I
Oh my
believe
god,
there is.
chaos bug. Sorry
Oh
to jump
wow,
into that.
oh absolutely, that was beautiful chaos bug, and I want to say I doubt that was credited because it just didn't look like he really could have bugged there, just perfectly within the range. Um, so yeah, as I was just saying, there's a 4 of 8 and 5 of 8. 5 of 8, a lot harder to get the pacing right, but when you start off, one mission right off the gate, you're already in a very good spot to complete here.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And like yeah, I was curious about how they're going to come into Veranda because I got all sorts of problems with Veranda. And I'm not going to list them out here. My position on Veranda is well known. But one of the things I will say about Veranda, which is unique to they play the maps alphabetically, right? That's the gimmick after they get picked or something, or is it just alphabetical because that's how it is in the two sets of groups? I forget. Often when there's any alphabetization involved, Veranda ends up closing a lot of sets. And so one thing I'll say about Veranda is it's one of the most boring venues if both of the players are not fatigued. But Veranda does get interesting if the players are fatigued because I think that there's a lot of stuff you do have to watch on Veranda, but I feel like there's a lot of safety nets on Veranda too. But the thing is if you're not actually like making good decisions about how to best use the strengths of Veranda, stuff can just get through because there's just a lot of map to cover. So basically, I think it's a really good endurance test at the end of sets, even though I think that Veranda's still too easy for the sniper. Positioning it here is going to be
And the
intriguing to me
underbred.
because I expect that fatigue is going to actually play a point.
And beautiful contact here with only, I think, maybe two or three guests out of conversation. Really just great pacing overall. Honestly, we finished up Seduce very early. So we got three missions, and I like honestly, I like the decision to go for inspects in this 5 of 8. Just the question really is just
Ooh.
what is that last mission going to be?
Interesting highlights. I think, obviously, I think it's for real, but I think that there was another real conversation that didn't get highlights. I think that we just liked this conversation as one that we were forcing ourselves into for contact. So, there's a little light at the end of the tunnel for David for able to get it. We are juggling a lot of highlights right now, though. Classic Veranda problem. A lot of highlights. Yeah, so many highlights. More than half the party, I think, at this point. They add the non-cast party as being
Oh, and I
highlight.
think at this bookshelf, I think we just have two fingerprints just ready and waiting for us. So that if we were wondering what that final mission is, that's it. And then we just have to finish up our inspects.
Yeah, and I would say if we do indeed finish the two fingerprints back to back, I don't think there's enough for David to want to shoot, especially if we go through it pretty quick, right? Because this is a pretty early Veranda finish. Like I know that it's been out for like it's like a almost 4 minutes or whatever that we spent on Veranda. I can't even remember what time we have. I want to say it's 4:15. Um, Even though we've been playing for a while, it's gonna feel like it's a little bit earlier than expected for a finish. This also feels like a swap.
Yeah,
Um,
I love the choice to go for the inspect finish now because surely the sniper's thinking like, okay, just watch the swap. If she doesn't swap, I'm good, right? But no, like we're already there. Oh, and he takes the shot.
oh my god, that okay.
Yeah, just
What did we catch?
I mean, one of two things, either it's his magical sniping or behavior powers, or he just really just had the mission count nailed down.
Yeah, so there's the BB thing, and I want to see that BB because I thought that there was another conversation with BB. So when does the contact happen? Contact happens here. Banana bread. Okay, so that is there's a ton of people in for this though. That's such a good contact. That to me is so strange for that to be the thing because that contact was actually incredible on Veranda. There was three conversations with a DA in it. That feels like it was a behavioral read on like where well, okay, so let's see. So the contact happens. I'm just going back to this contact because I'm just surprised about how this is playing out. um Da da da. We get everybody gets highlight in there, but we also highlight some of the other people that have real. So just a ton of real highlights. Not complete, by the way, um, but just a lot. I don't know why Pearls doesn't get highlight. I think it might be because we thought that Pearls might have been the suspected double agent because the arrow was kind of above their head. So I don't know why Pearls doesn't get highlight. There's like inconsistent gaps in the highlighting, but then it just turns out to be intuitively correct. And like you were saying, I actually completely agreed. Where I was expecting the swing back to just be checking for swap, right? As I was just expecting, okay, as long as I protect for swap, I'm good. And even if they walk away for a while, I'll be checking for green swap in a minute. Did we put the statue down too fast or something? That doesn't look like it. Oh, just solid shot.
Yeah, I was so ready to just be congratulating Koopa for such a well played spy game, but it turns out David answers by making probably one of the most impressive sniper shots of this set so far. And with that, we are actually on match point. David W is on match point, playing for the win. So it looks like David W will be spying here. Let's see, as boots in three, two, one, playing it. So yeah, I know he's got to be feeling great after that round. We're in a situation where if we win, we just win this entire set outright. Um, the only downside, I'll say is, playing being in a situation on Veranda where you're playing for a win as spy is pretty tough, especially with that 5 of 8 missions.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the things that's always like kind of weird about that is Koopa basically played a really good spy game for Veranda. Um, and so part of that surprise is that like it actually was looking like one of the few times in which a spy really felt like they were going to get away with just finishing, doing a mission finish on Veranda that had a good amount of time left. But the end result is not that surprising. So if we just came past that last game and we're like sniper one, and we didn't know anything about what happened in the game, I don't think we would be going too crazy about anything like momentum or any concerns or anything like that. But the problem for Koopa is Koopa just lost a game. They probably felt like they were going to win, especially after the sniper swing away. So there's just kind of like this response now that you have to reset your expectations of, okay, at the end of the day, I did just lose a spy veranda
Oh,
game, and
and
I just
we
have to.
get a
Oh,
reverse drive-by bug, and I think, while it may be suspected, it was definitely not seen. I think David had a very good angle on that.
yeah, and that was actually another thing is we had that chaos bug at the beginning of that game. So not only did Koopa play well after the chaos bug, they just had what appeared to have been like free mission from the very beginning, which is why, yeah, it could not have been mission count because I just don't think that we had a read on the number of missions that we had. But now David themselves might have an invisible bug because I don't think we don't seem to really okay. We're swinging back a little bit over for boots. To say if we're not looking at boots at all, I don't think we have anything on them.
Yeah, so here's the thing. Like we're off to a great start. We got the bug, we got the seduce. It looks like Koopa is watching those fingerprints though, because it looks like he was waiting to see who was going to take that fingerprintable statue. And I believe there was a fingerprint also left. So Smallman took the briefcase. I think Taft took the print, or he. No, I'm sorry. I think there's a print on books that has not been taken yet. So that may be available for us later. But I think if we go for it too early, that might just be a little too much suspicion.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. I think going to a back to back kind of like solid, just not rush, but like ahead of schedule progress game is going to be too similar to the game before. So I think that I would rather see a concurrent finish of something. Okay, we have a real
Banana
banana
bread.
bed coming up. It is not nearly as good as the last games. We'll see the reaction. So we low lit the people over there. That's interesting. I don't know why, but we did. And so Smallman's still in. We're one of the only highlights. I'm mostly concerned for us as far as like being just one of very few highlights. It is Veranda. More highlights will come as other people visit statues, which there just hasn't been very many of. I'm concerned for David just because on any other map, I think that we're okay. We're also
Banana bread.
really getting washed for this bug, which we already have, of course. Oh, sip banana bread. That's
Yeah,
completely intentional.
that was quite beautiful. If that was me sniping, I would have low-lit the spy for sure. Koopa knows better, but actually we're in a position where we can actually just finish right now. And I mean, can Koopa really shoot for this?
It's gonna be tough because okay, they are gonna have to go for 2 cycles, and I think they really look like they are. Yep. Okay.
He takes a
Uh,
shot. Yeah.
Well done. So David does try to. So David basically correctly feels out their suspicion level. They go near Ambassador again, which is interesting. Well, I mean, like they go there, Ambassador happens to come to them. I think they're going for that fake banana bread. But then there's the interesting thing of if you do a sip fake banana bread, most of the time it's like a who cares moment on Veranda because why would they be looking at you if you're going to do a sip fake banana bread? But it actually worked out pretty well because we were watching Boots because we didn't know about the bug earlier. So actually, we were on screen for this fake into sip. It was a fake into sip, not a sip then fake, which would have a little bit more impressive. But anyways, I just like that play because it actually used the fact that we were being watched a little bit closer, and then just going straight into statues after that. Because maybe if we got low lit, okay, cool, great, go into statues, take my chances, maybe I win.
Yeah, I think honestly, just a really good read from Koopa. Like we became a highlight as soon as we picked up that finger printable statue, and he never really took our eyes off of us from then. Even though like the progress was pretty steady and discreet. Yeah, Koopa just knew that he needed to take the shot there, and with that, we are tied. So with the tiebreak rules, each player is going to pick a venue from the venue sets that have already been picked. So it looks like we're going into Terrace, so surely this is David W's pick. Um, and so at the end of these two venues, if anyone's in the lead, they will be the winner of the match. And if it is tied, then I believe it proceeds into balcony. So Koopa, Koopa going to lead things off on the spy side as Kane in three, two, one, playing it.
Yeah, interesting that like because of that the way that naturally will happen, where if a player is allowed to pick from their venue pool, it's just probably going to be the thing they doubled, right? Just kind of makes sense, right? They felt like they were good about it. So it's actually one of the rare times in a spy party match where they're going to play 6 games of Terrace in this match. So there's actually going to be a fair amount of time that they might have been able to develop their own little meta, or so to speak, in the space of a competitive match, which is just rare unless you're playing a venue tournament. So just curious how this plays out because they've just played a lot of Terrace. I'm curious if they picked up anything from their opponent.
Yeah, agreed. And I do believe David he swept the first terrace. I believe they split the second. So I mean David he probably feels a little more. Well, I mean surely he feels more comfortable as he's the one who picked it. I mean, question is like is it good enough to actually win? I think if I'm not mistaken, he held all of his snipers on terrace so far, so probably feeling pretty good on the sniper side here. Koopa gonna have to try to make something happen to get past David's sniper.
Really weird quick moment where we get low lit. I actually don't know what was going on there. Well, actually no. I think maybe it was just like an idol or something like that because our seduction target does get low lit, and we almost get low lit. Maybe for passing up on the briefcase and then later getting into it. So I actually don't know what that partial low light was for. But it does not stick, so it's not going to end up mattering too much. But it does leave us in a better position with Duke out of it. But we have a lot of
Banana
other
bread.
highlights floating around without much going on. This kind of banana bread will probably not get followed up with a fake. This banana bread, the other conversation was so small and this one was so large. Oftentimes you will see 2 banana breads in the course of a terrace game to try to get as many people in with some sort of version of a reel. That one was pretty apparently, nope, this is the conversation. I'm almost surprised the other conversation doesn't even just get low lit. They probably are mentally written off right now because the other one was just so small.
Yeah, and I do like the decision here to go for the print. I think print's maybe not the most common. Oh wow, and Smallman takes a shot for us.
Someone does take a shot, which is interesting because didn't Small have a fake when that? I don't think. Oh no, Smallman did pop over for that reel. They just went back over there. Oh, so Smallman was just over by Ambassador and like took like a really deep bug path. I saw Smallman earlier. I'm trying to remember what Smallman stood out for me for. So Smallman. Oh, Smallman was bounced into this was in this other conversation at the beginning alone for a second, and then gets joined and then talked and then came over. Sorry, did not talk and then came over and joined. Just not really in a flirt spot, really though. Yeah, I think that was just 100% the bug. I don't think anything else really before then was really too positive. I don't think Small really would have been done flirting by that point, but it just looked like a super aggro bug in overtime, you know.
Yeah, pretty unfortunate start for David there. I know he definitely did not want to lose the first sniper side of his venue choice. Yeah, so let's see how we can answer here. So playing Seek, pretty popular spy choice for David in this set. In three, two, one, playing it.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
curious if you feel like you just lost a game, if you go for something that's more chancy, like a 50-50, or if you just actually try to do the outplay, because sometimes I think there's a temptation where if you lose a game based on like feeling like it was just bad, like, oh, do not go to that bar. Okay, this bar is going to be the source of so much consternation for Koopa, and it doesn't even have the spy in it. I'm really curious how they parse this out.
yeah, and I think each other set, David did opt to take the Purloin and actually delegate. So, well, actually, no. In one case, direct took. So, I mean, it would not surprise me at all if it was once again in his plans. And we can get the flirt progress here. So, I mean, why not at least take the delegate as an option? But yeah, I mean, as far as finding the finish, I think he was not expecting to drop that sniper round. So, I mean, he definitely has to make something happen here.
Yeah, and we to get into that bar, so we get the benefit. So right now we're only highlighting on drink takes. So I think we're gonna get a highlight here in just a moment. Yep. So we have a pretty good sense of the number of purloins out there. We just neutral lit white for not purloining it. I think we Koopa has a pretty good sense of the timing on purloin. I think about like when they would have needed to be sent it off. So I actually don't know if purloin's going to work out for us too well, even though there was a huge bar rush at first, because it just seems like there's such a ooh if ambassador okay let's say if ambassador goes to bar after that, it looked like a double send where they were both walking at the same time, but they ended up not going there anyways, and I was curious if
Banana
Koopa was
bread.
going to be like staring down that purloin. Banana bread would be a fake for most of the people that were in the purloin from earlier. I'm not seeing as many neutral lights off that initial grouping though, and here they go. There we go. There they are now.
Yeah, it's maybe one of those cases where we've faked so many times that we just kind of felt comfortable taking the real here. And Koopa has to be thinking that in the back of his head. And no, and we get joined directly by our ST. That's a nice break.
Yeah, still got to do something. So we got this drink. The Purloin just isn't happening. We haven't gotten dropped on the low light yet, which we're doing a second
Banana
fake
bread.
real banana bread. So Duke is going to get knocked out, which is going to be unfortunate. So it depends on how closely Koopa is watching this conversation. It doesn't look like we got rewarded for it. But the theory behind it, at least, is that Nutrilite, by the way, I don't think, actually means anything happened with that banana bread. That was a cleanup on the purloin from earlier. The theory behind faking a banana bread with the DA is still in the conversations you have. Green swap coming. So actually, I'm going to pause my theory there because it is going to 100% come down to how obvious the person that's coming over. We're pausing for a second because we actually don't want to call over too soon. Are we going to do another banana bread to distract from this? Who is going? Who is going?
Still have
Duke's
to,
going, so it's a low light.
yeah,
So
still have
okay.
to get the flirt here too. Yeah, I think Koopa's just right on top of this.
No, 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 bad, David. No, no, David, David. I no, David. Why? Oh, David.
Oh, the
Uh,
bug. Yeah, that's a good question because I think that was kind of timed as the swap was already happening, right?
oh, okay, okay.
Or
He's
was he trying to
explaining it
start
in
the
there.
timer a little earlier?
No, he was trying to do a banana bread, which is actually exactly what I
Okay.
was expecting. Because I
Yeah,
was
that's
expecting him to just go
understandable.
over there, flirt, do the banana bread so that the that we wouldn't be looking at Duke for the swap. That's super unfortunate. Okay, so it wasn't a choice because I was only me mad at David if that was a choice, if that was really preemptive, very early like not BM. Oh no, because it was even before Mission Countdown. Oh my god, that's so unfortunate. That's
Yeah, certainly not the time that you want to get action prioed. I mean, but if we're being honest, a low light was swapping for us, so I think most of the time we're going to get shot there anyways. But yeah, with the unfortunate bug, we're always getting shot in that situation.
well, the thing that was going to be interesting about how that went down is so let's say Banana Bread went off. I'm curious what happens here. So if Banana Bread goes off, who gets shot? Because we would not recognize the pending on the mission. So it almost certainly would have felt like either a flirt or let's see, 10 seconds. Yeah, it would have felt like a flirt or a contact finish at the end there. It probably still would have been us because we did flirt. Um, but our choice would have been who do we shoot out of uh, Bling Twin, Taft, and us. I feel like it still would have been us. Who knows? I think the swap was just never going to get seen if we did the contact.
Okay. And with that, let's move on to Koopa's pick, which is Aquarium. Not too surprising in that. And for the first time, Koopa is on match point. So yeah, Koopa just needs to win, one round of his own set, and David W is in the unfortunate position of having to win both of his opponent's picks, or both rounds of his opponent's pick rather. And so yeah, Koopa starting things off here as Alice in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Yeah, no. So I really curious how David is feeling after this, after that match, because like there was a couple things in there that were probably going to feel like unfortunate. Definitely, the action priority is unfortunate. I do think that Koopa was more than 50% likely to shoot us there just because of the nature of the finish. Because even basically, it was going to be a problem for us that the swap wasn't going to get seen. So either the swap was going to get seen, it's definitely going to be us, or the swap wasn't going to get seen. Oh, nice little bug there. I actually really like that timing. It's going to be hard to tell whether or not there's any suspicion on us because the highlight's going to stick. But I actually think that that bug was walking bugs where you walk from not covered by shark into covered by shark where you only be covered for like a moment. It's just like this vector of knowing when the shark would appear and where you are going to be that is just harder to anticipate as spy, and so it just looks more natural. I think that bug's looked super clean.
Yeah, it did look like that absolutely could have been a natural path. I know I would not have seen it, but David being David, he does assign that proper credit for it. Um, so yeah, starting off here, got the pretty clean bug. Yeah, looks like actually quite a few highlights here though. So maybe not too much suspicion on Koopa at this moment.
Yeah, we got a bunch of highlights in here. Hard to really tell because the other thing is like still an aquarium. Even if you get a bug, sometimes that's kind of baked in to into the mission composition that you're hoping to get away with the spy. Because like you're still gonna have to do something else. I mean, you're gonna do probably do a contact, a flirt, and then I don't know. Like right now, we're not making progress on fingerprints. We could if we go to this purple bookshelf, or sorry, purple bookshelf, blue bookshelf where the purple arrow is at. One of the tricky things with Aquarium is it's actually tricky to get briefcases because of how square the map is. It's harder to you have to kind of position yourself really early to get briefcases because there's
Banana
just going to be
bread.
somebody nearby all the time. Banana bread goes off. Just a couple of lowlights. Actually, gonna work out pretty darn well for us because we've already got this bug, and I think if we just do flirt and like just a couple of statue visits, I think there's enough action in the party that David's gonna have a hard time shooting.
Yeah, absolutely. We're making great progress here for Aquarium, especially Aquarium actually, since there's a lot of ways that we can finish. Um, but yeah, seeing as this match point, I think Koopa's probably just going to take a pretty safe, straightforward route here.
Yep, and I mean we could even just make our last mission microfilm. I doubt it. It doesn't feel like the kind of thing, especially with Shark coming in just right after. I am curious what we're gonna finish because there's a certain amount of time that back-to-back statues is like a bug level of difficult to pull off. So I actually don't know what our last mission is going to be if we don't go for statue to statue pretty soon here, and it might just end up being a delegate near the end.
Yeah, I think that would be the most likely scenario. I think we always die on swap. We really don't have time for statues and fingerprints. Just the ambassador just really has not left enough for us. So yeah, I think we're just going to do a purloin and really just hope for the best here.
Yeah, so the two one thing we actually haven't talked about at all, surprisingly actually, is shark walking. I don't know if Koopa there's a certain level of like let's say dastardliness to shark walk on match point at the end of overtime. I don't know if Koopa's at that level. I would just say I think that's competitively okay, but like people might feel a way about that. So I don't think we're gonna be going for a shark walk at this pending, but I am curious if we're even going to attempt it. It's not going to
And
be
the
an option
purloin
anyway.
is off. And we were behind Shark when we did delegate, so oh, and he finds a shot. Only a few seconds left.
I think so. Koopa identifies that we were being hovered on at the end of the thing. Nice shot, first of all. Nice shot by David there. That is, we were prepared to take that shot because we knew we only had a couple seconds of overtime, and Alice is shorter. Uh, this is very small. I think we should have danced into the middle of that conversation, not backing away. If we were hoping to get missed, because we had way more chance in a miss shot and triggering something difficult by David by going towards the middle and just trying to move through, because we only need to burn 3 seconds, even like less with overtime. So if we were going to do that, I think we go the other direction. But I think either
Yeah,
way, David was prepped.
yeah, good point. Good heads up play, knowing that the counter was pretty low, and if we can even just buy a second or two, that could be enough. But yeah, also good awareness from David, knowing that we were the ones to that we must have been the ones to delegate there, and that we are at a mission countdown. So yeah, David holding a sniper. And Yeah, once again, Koopa still on match point here. Um, yeah, so David spying as boots in three, two, one, playing it. Spawning right by the ambassador here. Do we go for
Don't
it?
chase!
No.
Don't chase!
Oh,
Oh, come
I
on,
think.
David!
Oh, we do.
Oh, if we get a highlight for this, I'm gonna be so sad because we forced that second pass. It looks like we are gonna get away with it. We do. Here's the nice thing: we got a drink in our hand. So, but we were just rushing. Come on. I mean, like, okay. So I like the idea of rushing here, but this feels okay. We slowed down a little bit. Okay, I was gonna say this felt like it was lining up for a reckless, like, I just want to be done with this match kind of a thing, because like it is super real that if you have been playing through a really tough match, sometimes you just want it to be over. And you're just like, I'm just going to play as fast as I can and just get this over with. I'm not going to try to think through this as much. And then just take the odds on a rush. It still might happen if we do a swap here. I think we might try to go for swap, inspect, finish these inspects, swap, flirt twice. Nope. Okay, good, good, patient, nice, good.
Yeah, pretty. I want to say pretty brave play here from David. Not only do we essentially force the bug early, but we're just going straight statue to statue and finishing
Yeah.
inspects. Um,
Here's the swap opportunity. I feel like it might be coming. He might be. Nope. Okay. All right. Sorry to catch you off there, because then I actually thought a swap was coming, but now it wasn't.
I'm quite relieved to hear that a swap wasn't coming because I think even though we're taking risks, they're very calculated risks. They're putting us in positions to finish, but certainly we can't just be shot for them. So yeah, picking up the pretty thematic here for David, picking up the delegate, getting it in hand, and I think we're just gonna come finish up this flirt.
Yeah, I was gonna say we're probably gonna position ourselves a little bit away from our seduction target, because we know we're gonna have to get two flirts in, and so either we're gonna need to be kind of like medium distance away, get two whites or whatever happens, and like you time it out. We get a green, so we have so much flexibility about how to finish this. Um, a lot of movement out here now. So now our delegate target. Oh, I can't even tell if it would be. I think it would be our seduction target would be our delegate if we sent. So we could actually even. That would be too risky to descend into flirt at bar on the delegate. But if we actually try to timer flirt here, I don't think we've got time to delegate as well. So we might
Yeah.
delegate to Papa, who just came in.
Yeah, and come to think of it, since because of the early aggression, we don't even really need the delegate. We could just do the standard flirt contact, and that would be enough. Yeah, so I mean, Koopa obviously well aware that we do have those inspects. Question is, did he credit us for that early bug?
Yeah, and it's interesting. Oh no, that's really annoying. Unless they did join a conversation where, oh, that conversation is actually really aggravating. Actually, no, spot opened up and we only need to cross. Really hoping that double agent was going to come in there so we could contact and then go over there. But as it is, we're gonna have to flirt and then bust over to the double agent, which is going to be um, a little bit fraught. I do agree that the method that we went with the doing the inspects back to back, which might have just been
Beneath
a
the red.
way to. All right, here's the timing. Here's the timing. Low lights, low lights, low lights. Really fast low lights to give us enough time. We flash on pop up. I think we're good. We're in the clear. We were definitely on pop on that one. Nice little choice there, as you mentioned. Doing the back to back statues, timing wise, just helped us out a lot, because going back to back, the sniper might not refresh their memory about the level of threat that that person has because usually it's inspect, play, 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 second inspect. Oh, right, they were at statues a while ago. But yeah, well done. And I believe that's it. What happens now?
Yeah, so we are all tied up. Interestingly enough, both players swept the opponent's venue, and with that, we go to balcony. So the way balcony works is, I believe, so they'll play around a balcony, spy, snipe, and if any player is winning at the end, then they'll be the winner of the match. And I believe, it. I think they can go up to 5 times, and then at that point, they're given the option to reschedule if they want to. So, or they could just keep playing balcony. So yeah, well, oh, and another interesting choice is I believe, if we go all the way back to the picks, David actually picked a set that does contain balcony, and that was Koopa's ban. So you have to think, maybe David might feel a little more comfortable in this venue. Like I know there's some pathing aspects that come into balcony. Um, but yeah, let's see what happens. So Koopa here, we'll be starting things off on the spy side as wheels in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
And just first of all, congrats to both of these players. As we mentioned at the start, like this is one of the better finishes for either one of them. If they get out of it, they've been solid players for a long time. So just happy for both of them, and just happy that they neither one of them is going to come away with this feeling bad about their play. They might have a few nightmare fuel moments where they when it comes down to this much, any one game swinging in a direction would have won it for them. So there still might be some stress nightmares and all that kind of good stuff that comes along with SpyParty. We get paired up with White Dress. We got to be careful with that. And or actually no, that might just be talking timing. We not might not get actually paired on that one. But yeah, you would imagine that David would have an edge on this one.
Yeah, I agree with what you said too. I mean, there is certainly no losers in this match. It's been absolutely incredible on both sides. And the nice thing is this, even though these are single elimination brackets, whoever loses still gets to play again in the third place match, so they're not completely out. Um, but yeah, and interesting choice. So you can select which three missions you want, and Koopa opted for Purloin here, and I wonder, he actually hasn't left conversation once. I wonder if he just doesn't want to get shot for pathing reasons against David.
Yeah, and that's actually been coming around a little bit more. I want to say Corvus really does this a lot. Really actually prefers it. I want to say Purloin. Partially that's because people with high green test action rates, they don't get anything out of their green test action rates for bug. But they can sometimes just like throw something into a chain. Great notice because I actually presumed that bug was on. I actually wish like the arrow said something different. It was off, but that's just a small little gripe. We never got this banana
Banana
bread
bread.
off. This is actually, I mean, so again, for anybody that has never really gotten into the difference between the maps, this will look ridiculous. This shot.
Oh
I
no,
want to
that is
explain it
just
real quick.
tragic. Uh, yeah, yeah. Go on.
The quick thing is, this is one of the only, maybe the only current current competitive map where the double agent does not appear to the sniper. So I just want to explain that for players that if they have not played balcony before, why there was a shot on a civilian when the contact was obviously appearing to be fake. That's because the double agent does not appear. So I'm assuming pretty much everybody in here is old hat, but just wanted to call that out because otherwise that shot looks absolutely foolish, but it wasn't. All right, go ahead.
Yeah, and of course, this is one of the reasons you'll see players picking balcony because, of course, it's just so likely that an AI can finish. Sometimes multiple AIs can be finishing at once, so you really have to dig deep to think about, okay, which one of these could actually be the spy? And yeah, situations like that can occur. I know David probably not feeling too great because I think he's had about 3 civ shots at this point. Not sure if Koopa has, but seeing as this is balcony, that he may finally come around to one. And so yeah, let's see how David can answer back on the spy side as Teal in 3, 2, 1, playing it. And before I say anything, I want to point out that David also has Purloin turned on in place of Bug.
I feel like I could be wrong about this. I think David just mirrored. I don't know if David noticed because it didn't look like we were watching Pearline that much, but I could just be wrong about that. But I feel like we just mirrored it just to. I think we were feeling sad about that shot. I don't think it really mattered to us. I don't think that David prefers Purloin to Bug. I could actually be wrong about that. I usually have a good sense of where people are at, though.
Um, yeah, I don't know. Like, I want to believe that, like. this is just what both players prefer. Like I know like by far most players are gonna have bug on in this situation, but I think maybe just both have so much respect for the other's ability to spot bugs that they know that it's really just not on the table.
Oh yeah, David confirms just typically mirror setup. I just feel like some people like just mirroring all the time, so makes sense. One thing that was really strange about that last game, by the way, is that there was an opportunity to sniff out the double agent because that contact was super duper late, and the only person that was consistently out was Teal. And so there was just never a contact moment. So one thing is, it usually will feel like when you're the spy side, like the spy party gods hate you because they're keeping the person out of the conversation. But you have to remember that they don't actually see that arrow and just throw it off, and then it'll just be this weird person that never came in, and it makes your BB timing unpredictable and can be confusing to the other player. Really weird path from Queen. Weird path from Queen. I
And
don't
the end
know
of
if that's
red.
going to be something they hate or like.
Yeah, so tough position here from David because I don't think we can finish. Oh, and it looks like we get bailed out as Koopa takes a shot on Twin here.
Yeah, I mean this is like Civ shots pretty rare on most other maps. Definitely not rare. I think it's easily the highest Civ shot rate of any map. This is not terribly unusual, even though both players are basically kind of like behind the curve on their mission completion. That Civs can just get shot. So I wonder if either one's going to take away anything from this, and I guess we've got more balcony.
Yeah, and I think honestly, I think Koopa had been perfect up until that point in terms of like only either shooting the spy or having them finish. I think that was his first Civ shot. So yeah, I'm sure David's feeling a little feeling better that that score is getting evened up a little bit. Um, oh, interesting choice here on this next round. We have Koopa as a small man. Um,
But Smallman
and
Purloin, though, like, what are we gonna do with this? Like, it's just fun, you know?
well, we're about to find out in 3, 2, 1, playing it. Oh, and we are right inside of Taft. I mean, can David even see
He
us here?
did, he did, he did. We
Okay, and
did,
oh, we did a green purloin while we were
yes.
inside of Taft.
So
Does
we
does
definitely
he?
contact. We
And the end of red.
absolutely contact as this is happening. We contact a little early, actually. This is
Oh no, it's chaining too. So here's the
very
thing: is
interesting.
there's no way to actually know who started this chain, if I'm not mistaken. Because I mean, Smallman could have just been an AI who rejected. So oh, this is terrible for David, but this is great for Koopa.
This is so weird. And like that actually, so that shot completely makes sense, right? It would be the spy that notices this crazy chain, right? So you would think like exactly like you said, very unusual chain afterwards. And so we were the beginning of this chain while we were kind of in this strange spot where we're inside of Ambassador. And then theoretically, it's more and more likely to be the spy near the end of the chain because they've noticed this cool chain rather than started off this thing that went almost fully around the entire party to each potential suspect. So, uh, uh, I mean, that's Purloin Balcony for you. Really interesting setup. I was more curious. I really wanted to see what would happen if it was a white purloin into a banana bread immediately because we would have been taking through Taft and would have been confusing, and if we would have danced. But unfortunately, we just get this really crazy chain, and David takes a reasonable shot.
Yeah, and as the players pointed out in chat, I think Kane had the fastest reject, so maybe he was just looking the most spy-like. So nice assist from Kane there with giving the early reject, giving himself a little more suspicion than the rest of the chain.
All right. Well, that one got to be really demoralizing. But I mean, we literally have had nothing but Civ shots so far, so definitely still possible for David to come back and force more overtime balcony. But at this point, what is worse, losing this series or continuing to play overtime balcony? Who knows?
All right, so let's see. It looks like David will answer back as Taft in 3, 2, 1, playing it. Still got Purloin on here. And yeah, I think for what Koopa just experienced, that is the absolute dream. Like, not only does he have everyone in for contact, I think everyone joined in on the Purloin except for maybe one. Um,
And the
I
end of
think it was
red.
everybody because I think the last one was the take. So if
uh,
you knock out with the white, yeah, that's about it.
A pretty similar start here for David. Gets everyone other than the ambassador, which is fine, for the contact. So already in a pretty nice position to even things out here.
Oh, I don't. actually like this. Oh, I actually like so I actually I'd prefer us just going for the dagger with. Oh, actually I'm gonna take that back. We're not gonna talk. I think. I don't think we're actually gonna flirt. I think we're gonna redirect again or wait for seduction target to leave. Nope. There we go. I lied. Then I don't like this play. Just because we're just gonna be talking a lot and like uh, 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 so if you get a flirt pair on balcony, then you're just probably dead, right? But if you talk a lot, there's a lot of crossfire in your flirt pair. So right now we have to worry about our flirt pairing with Duke and White, as well as our flirt pairing with our true flirt, which is Tex. So the reason why I was thinking that we might not do any talking at all is just go for the two green, which I think we did get a green across on this conversation. And we could have just waited to see if a spot opened up next to Tex, not talk at all, leave, go back, and then talk late in the game, just go for the two flirt, which is risky, but is it riskier than accumulating this extra suspicion from being next to other people and having to leave conversation and go back in?
Yeah, a little low on time here too. I know, late talks are probably going to be looked at a little more closely too, so it does make me a little nervous here.
I think we're going to be talking at like exactly 11 seconds or something. Oh,
Yeah, I
nope.
think okay. So if we do try to finish, we are going to trigger overtime.
All
Yeah,
right,
and
well,
Koopa's not taking a shot.
oh, we're right on screen. Yeah, well done. Koopa does not take the bait and takes the set. The decisions for David there was trying to see if you could get away with flirting early and going out the time, but the part that you can get away with on flirting super late on balcony is if somebody talks at 2 seconds. Sometimes the sniper will just zoom in and prep to shoot that person and not notice somebody talking at 1 second. But Koopa zoomed out, saw that basically nobody else was talking or really would have been in the last little set there, and shoots pretty much correctly because I think Tex was the only person that had talked in the 10-second time frame, and Tex just stayed still that entire game. Oh no, Boots did talk. There was a possibility there.
Yeah, and yeah, with that, congratulations to Koopa. He will be going on to the Winter Cup Finals. And honestly, congratulations to David as well. I think both of these players like really just proved like they can play at that absolute top level. Just incredible performances all around. Just just great set, I have to say. What was originally a race to nine ended up being 13 to 11 at the end. Just yeah, just brilliantly matched players. And yeah, with that, we'll go on to our next match.